Good morning to all who follow us through the podcast today with the episode number 2. Today we're going to take enhance a lot of topics that is very interesting in the healthy life of ourselves and our people that we love. Okay, the first topic is going to be the importance of have a good diet. First of all, I think that the importance of a good diet is that you can have like a healthy life because it's a group of food that help you to have a healthy life and can improve your life and the life of other people. Sorry, that make also some diet. Actually, to like you can get with that diet some achievements. Like if you want to get more weight, you can make some diets, and if you want to lose your weight, you also need to do some diets, specific diets to have like improvement more faster, and this is very important. Actually, the importance of a good diet is very relevant in our lives, more in the lives of our kids or the kids of the world, because if they start eating well from day one, they actually are going to have probably a good diet when they are adults, because they are like they know what is good. And if you make the opposite thing, like only and give your kids or the kids junk food, they are going to think that the junk food is a good thing, and actually they can have um, more weight that they can like have. Actually, this is a big problem in Mexico, because actually we are in 2020 and Mexico is the number one country in the world with obesity in kids, and one of the most countries with more obesity in adult people, and that is very relevant. Actually, we have the fast food that is one of the big problems of the society. The fast food is food that is like their name says, is fast, because you can like get it in a lot of places and it's very cheap in some places. Like examples of the fast food can be McDonald's, can be Burger King, can be Pizza Hut, Domino's, all that restaurants that make food that is not that good, is very delicious, but is not that good to eat them, and actually is not good for your body. Another thing important to say is that the fast food is one of the most popular into families in Mexico. It's very important to say that a lot of families they buy this food with normally like all the days, or actually all the days, and it's the thing that they love and they do it, and that's the reason why the kids are fat. If you see a Mexican family, is not like to say that all the families are the same, but actually if you see that the father and the mother they have overweight, you are going to see that their kids probably have overweight. In the opposite side, if you see that a man and a woman that have a kids, if you see that they make sports and all that stuff, the kids probably they have a good body. Actually, because I think that the good diets and also the sport is a thing that you need to say, that you need to like to do to your kids when they are little, because there is something that is going to get in their lives all the time when they are not going to live with you anymore. Actually, the other thing is like the percentage is very high that also any good food that you can get in the supermarket is going to be the same as fast food. Like an example, you buy meat, actually the meat, like the kilo is very expensive. It's actually like, I think I don't know the exact price, but actually I think that with a price of meat, with a package of meat, you can actually buy like 2 burgers in Burger King, for example. And this is why some people buy a lot of fast food, because it's very cheap, and if they don't have a lot of money, what they can do, if they buy something expensive, they don't have no money, and if they buy that food that is more cheap, they have more money for other things that they need to do. Actually, there's a middle point that is that actually it need to be a balance from sports and diets is not that good. Like do diets very extremely, like don't eat like in the past they think that the diet it was to like only eat pepino, only pepino one time per day and that is your food. Actually it's not, the diets are not that things. And I can say it from the world that that I do a diet, and actually I eat a lot to improve my weight because I weigh less than I might be waiting. But actually, I think that the diets are not like that thing that a lot of adult people of like our fathers think that the diets actually is like a diet to get less weight. But actually, is more diets. I know more diets of plus weight that people that make diet of less weight, and actually that's an important point. Okay, I finished with my part. We are going to pass with my partner, Hector Sandoval, that is going to talk about another important topic, but the same thing basically of the important topic today. That is how the important to have a good diet. So I leave.
In this country, where the economy that we have is very difficult to maintain a high economic social status because Mexico doesn't have a very good economy, and this affects us because people who lives with not much money to eat and not suffer from hungry because they buy fast food or unhealthy food that contains too many calories and that are not good for health. That is why people prefer to eat things that do not provide vitamins or nutrients to their bodies. Since they are cheaper than nutritious foods such as vegetables or fruits, it is more difficult and more expensive to buy healthy food and nutrition food. People who don't have money don't buy things like asparagus because they are also expensive. The economy is very important and it affects the consume of fat, calories, or a lot of bad food like burgers or hot dogs. Because that type of food is a thousand times uh, more accessible, and people prefer that eating healthy. Many of the healthy food are so expensive, and um, it's more expensive than fast food like McDonald's or Burger King. Um, the people that don't have many money, uh, they can't buy food like vegetables or fruits because in this type the dollar is very expensive, so the food like healthy food are going up with the prices. Um, Also, it is important to know that if you are going to eat healthy food, you have to do exercise. And people that don't have money, they can uh, pay an gym or they can go to have a classes private. So that is very important to have a good healthy.
Welcome to our podcast. Let me present myself. My name is Edgar Hernandez Vargas. I'm going to tell you about the third topic. Is it essential to have money to have a good diet? In basic words, yes and no. Why yes? Yes, because some of the healthy food is three times more expensive than the fast food, the trash food basically. For example, a salad can cost around $4 and a hamburger of McDonald's $1. So it's a big difference. That's a reason so why people eat fast food than healthy food, and the fast food is much common to see in the streets than the healthy food. It's like you are going to the street and you see a restaurant only for salads. The fast food sells more. Then the 30% of the population in Mexico is is of low class, that they win or the minimum salary, or they don't win the necessary to be like a medium class. And we can say that if they don't win enough to be middle class or and that kind of things, I think or I suppose, and it's a fact that they cannot give the luxury to eat healthy food, because in some part it's a luxury. But there are some healthy food that are really, 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 really good for your organism, like the beans. The beans are very cheap because we produce a lot in Mexico, so it's a local product that we can eat very easy, and it's everywhere, and there's no much expensive. I'm sure that if you look for the healthy food and cheap, I'm sure that you're going to eat well and cheap. Yes, it's difficult, and the thing is that you have to make it and you have to take the time to do it. But if you want to be healthy and have a good and long life, it's a little risk that you can take it. No, it's a little bit problem. Like it's preferred that you spend 30 minutes per day to do your food for 2 days, that when you are 50 or 60 you have some. And yes, it's a difficult thing because in Mexico, one part of our culture is the food. Yes, we have really, really good dishes like chilaquiles, pozole, but the things with that food is like it's very, very unhealthy. Yes, it's delicious, but it's not good for your body, for your organism. So it's for a Mexican, I think that it's going to be more difficult to let the trash food or that food that is not healthy for you, because it's a part of our culture, and it's part of our day. And in most of the parties or the events that we organize, we we eat that food like carnitas, pozole, mole, and it's like you go to party and you can say no for that food because we see like bad bad education, no? But you have to be strong and you have to have a purpose if you want to be healthy. And the thing that you can do is like you can have a lunch instead of eating in the street, because in Mexico like every 5 meters it's a local that sells food, garnachas and that, or chips and that kind of thing. So that's a point that don't help us. But I'm sure that we can make it. If we go with a doctor that has an specialization in nutrition and we follow all the things that he says to us, and we really, really want to make it, we can do it. Yes, it's going to be difficult, but all in the life is going to be difficult. It's nothing easy in this life. So you have to be very strong, you have to have a strong mind, and you have to take that decision now, because if you, in conclusion, that if we can have a good diet uh with money or not, my answer is still yes or no. It depends from every person and how do they want to make an effort for do it. But if you want and you don't have a lot of money, you can make it. But if you don't want and you don't have a lot of money, you are never gonna make it.
Imagine Mexico with a better quality of life and more rich. If one imagine the Mexican Federation counting those two states in their current economic dimension, Mexico would multiply by 5 its current gross domestic product, adding the current GDP of California and Texas. The Mexican economy would reach US 5 trillion of annual GDP Well, and will be the third largest economy in the world, barely surpassed by the United States and China. Mexico would have a better economy, and the country will be less poor and would have fewer people with little money. I mean, not with not a lot of money like in the United States that they have a lot of money. Or well, not of the people are poor. People will not have to eat cheap food because people will have more money to eat food of higher quality and the same price. An example that of United States and Mexico is that clothing in Mexico sell cost 3 times more than in United States because they have a better economy and they don't need to. Other academics think differently and they venture to imagine a more fortunate Mexico economically if it had not suffered territorial dismemberment. They would have more hospitals of better quality and they would not be so expensive like in like now. People will invest more and there will be more medicines and they will not be so expensive. People were not dying because they did not have the money for paying the hospital and there wouldn't be more a lot of people killing others and for money. If Mexico had a better quality of life, there will not be so many sick people, and they could heal faster, and people will have saved themselves from many diseases. Most of the time, all due to the quality of food they eat. That is, like fast food, that they do not have better quality than some non-food restaurants. And also in Mexico, where a rich country, many companies will come to Mexico and give more opportunities to people who deserve it.
Okay, thank you for hearing us. With this, we conclude the episode number 2 of the podcast. Then number 2 episode we conclude today. Actually, we are grateful with you that you heard us all the episodes that we make, and you get all the session. Thank you and have a good evening.